Hi, welcome to JJ's Productions. I'm back with another Thrawn book review / summary. And yeah, I've changed things around in the background, and yep, Disney, this is yours. So yeah, I didn't know what else to do this time. So if anyone's got any art that I'd like to showcase in the background, let me know. Although I've got maybe one or two viewers, so again, anyway, let's just get into the book. So the general gist is of this one chapter, it's like the Kaboom chapter in my point of view. It was the one where you're watching it and I always feel like I'm watching these things. It's because the audiobook. Well, yeah, you're reading it and you feel like it's the inciting incident. It's the big chapter where everything happens. And it's Arinda Price, really, who's the star of the show. What happens at the beginning, she's having a meeting with a senator or just a low-level bureaucrat's wife, actually. And she gives this wife a really expensive bottle of wine and charges it to the company she's working for, the advocacy group. So, yeah, seems quite low-key as a start of the chapter, but it's like bubbling already. You sort of think, okay, something will happen. Anyway, she goes back to the advocacy group, and Driller, who's in charge of, we've discussed him in the previous chapters, he essentially says, right, I've got a chance for you to talk to someone. She's like, who? And then it's Grand Moff Tarkin. So she tries to act all calm, but like the rest of us, she's excited. So yeah. Now, the next part of the chapter for me is one of the best parts of the book so far. Just describing Tarkin's room as you walk in, and it's described as a room that is designed to intimidate, from carpets that will trip you up to walls adorned with achievements, trophies, medals, everything that can scare someone walking in and knowing they've got to talk to this man. Then you get to the desk himself at the end of this long office, and Tarkin himself is a cold, grey, white-haired, scary man, essentially cold in look. So it was really described well, and I've got to admit, I wouldn't like walking into that room either. So top marks there, Timothy Zahn. You really nailed what Tarkin's room should feel like, but not to mention as well, he even nailed the fact that this would just be one of his offices. So probably his more main office, probably off-world, would be worse. So I really hope at some point we get to see that. But the gist of this conversation between Price and Tarkin is she basically sells everyone off. So she sells off the advocacy group, claiming they're rebels. I believe they are, but I'm going to say it's still a bit cold considering Drew here took her in, Driller gave her work, although, as I've said, they've probably been using her a bit. She doesn't dob in Thrawn or Yularen. No surprises there. Thrawn actually advised her of this path in an indirect way. So it is quite interesting. Tarkin does say, who have you been talking to, essentially? And she does say Thrawn and Yularen. And he says, you expect me to believe of two naval officers or something like that? And Price essentially goes, well, no. I don't expect us to be friends. I just think that you should take my word for it, which seems to gain Tarkin's trust. Then after that, he is given information regarding Moff Guardian. Now, this is something that I found interesting. My perception of Tarkin is that, yes, he would have enemies, but I didn't believe he'd have enemies that would bother him. But Guardy seems to be one of them. So I'm going to be disappointed if this doesn't pay off later in the book, because Guardy's become an important character in the novel, and he's not someone that's heard of in the wider Star Wars universe. And Tarkin himself doesn't seem to have grudges. There isn't someone who makes him frown. He seems very calm, cool, collected, and for him to sort of, he didn't overreact, but he played his cards, he reacted. And I think for him to do that to Guardy, there has got to be a payoff somewhere down the line. So I am looking forward to it, because, like I say, Guardy's been played up to be a massive character. So even though he wasn't shown in this chapter, the conversation between Price and Guardy at the end of the previous chapter she was involved in is played to Tarkin. So essentially, Tarkin has now got proof that a Moff is trying to gather evidence to incriminate him, which is falsified. The evidence that Price was referring to is all false, but it was something that can be used as leverage against Gardy. So it was clever from her. So at the end of this, there's basically a summary from Tarkin saying, so Yularen will get this, Thrawn will get he'll get a ship quicker, and he'll also get a promotion for Eli. And Tarkin essentially cuts to the chase and says, what do you want? And it wasn't hard to guess, but it was still, I've got to give credit for how it was ballsy for her to say, Governor. I want to be governor of Lothal. Because, yes, it makes sense. Her character is definitely someone ballsy enough to say, I want this. However, I thought she might take something a little smaller to begin with. So it was definitely a ballsy move, because they could have made it that she had to step up gradually and then eventually get governor. But no, she goes straight in. Although I did love the technicality that Tarkin awards it to her, saying, oh, you'll be acting governor for a period of months, maybe a year. And I couldn't help but think, yeah, maybe that'll be longer. You know, Tarkin will probably just keep you on the string long enough, and then eventually, yeah, we'll give it you if you've done well. So I found it interesting. Anyway, that was the main gist of that part. I mean, it was a brilliant conversation. I would actually go into more detail, but I won't get through the rest of the chapter. But if you were going to read the book, that is the chapter I'd be looking out for so far, that section. Because even though the next bits are good, that section alone was a brilliant one-on-one conversation. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Anyway, next section, it's a day after, and Price is essentially just meeting with Dewey here at the dojo that Dewey here works at. And it wasn't anything other than, all right, I'm going to arrest you. You know, I'm playing it off a bit there, but it wasn't that far complicated. It was literally just, okay, you know, I'm here to arrest you. Dewey here tries to say, I'm your friend, help me. And there was a fairly cool line from Price. She says, help you? Okay, if you tell Yularen the truth, all of the truth, I will try to not let you be executed. You know, I thought, okay, that is really cool. I mean, she even brags a bit and says, I am climbing I'm climbing the ladder. Maybe I will be able to help you once I get to the top. It was really cold from her, because I can believe that Price feels used from her perspective, but I don't think Dewey here did that much wrong, at least from what we know. Maybe later on there'll be some proof that Dewey here confessed and she was part of the Rebel Alliance or something, but I can't help but wonder how much Price has maybe thrown her under the bus. So I'm looking forward to hopefully reading a bit more about that, but you never know. So there was a funny little moment at the end of this little section. Yularen asks Price an opinion, and she's like, oh, you're asking me for an opinion, are you? I forgot I'm actually a governor now. So it was nice just to have a little bit of humility from her, as if to say, oh yes, this will happen more in the future, but this first time it caught me off guard. So yeah, I enjoyed that. But that was pretty much Price's perspective done for this chapter. After that, we went to Vanto's perspective, which, I'll be honest, when I talk about Thrawn, it is usually from Vanto's perspective, but there are insights into Thrawn's mind, which are usually described as, it's like, I call it like, in The Matrix, when you slow down time, bullet speed, that's it, bullet time. It's a bit like that, but Thrawn time. You know, it's essentially Thrawn's observations in a very small space of time. So most of the time it's from Eli's perspective, and you can tell that very clearly at this point when they've essentially been summoned by the Imperial Eye judges or whoever they are, you know, the Navy, and Eli thinks they're probably going to get another slap on the wrist, and lo and behold, Thrawn gets a promotion. He is now a Commodore, which I must admit, I'm not too familiar with naval terms, but I've never heard of Commodore. I'd heard of Captain, Commander, Lieutenant, and all those, but Commodore is one I'm not very familiar with, so I couldn't say what's next. I would have actually thought after Commander we'd have been going up to, well, Admiral. So if anyone does know, please leave it in the comments. But yeah, I was surprised that he got another promotion, but naturally Eli gets a promotion as well this time. And the writing for it was brilliant, because even though we know he's going to get it, the writing was convincing that Eli didn't. And, you know, he was actually planning what filing to do later, and he was essentially happy but begrudging Thrawn for getting the promotion again. I think his words were along the lines of, I'm happy for him, but, you know, he does deserve it. It's just, I'm a bit fed up of this now. And like I say, it's a nice reward for him that he actually does get the promotion. So, yeah, it was a very nice chapter overall. At the end, Tarkin and Thrawn have a little chat. Tarkin was there for the promotion ceremony. And there was an interesting line. He basically told Thrawn that Price had got the promotion for them both. Just mentioning Governor Price sends regards or something. And Thrawn actually reciprocates it, saying, when you see Governor Price, will you please pass on our regards, or something like that. Which does make me think Thrawn's more astute than maybe Eli definitely gives him credit for. But yeah, I'm just thinking about what goes forward, and that conversation could be interesting, because Tarkin and Thrawn in Rebels didn't have too many interactions. They had one on the Hollow communicator in season 4 when Thrawn was summoned back to Coruscant. But besides that, I don't think there were many interactions. So it will be interesting to actually see what Tarkin and Thrawn do, if anything at all. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. This will certainly be out by his promotion to Commodore, and the fact that he's now got the Chimera. He's been given his own Star Destroyer, which anyone who knows, the Chimera is his ship. So it is going to be very good. For the record, Eli's promotion, he didn't just get one promotion, he didn't go up to Lieutenant. He is now Lieutenant Officer, I think, or no, Lieutenant Commander of the Empire. So that means he's a rank above that guy from the previous chapter as well, which he was pleased about and wanted to rub his nose in it. So that was about it. There wasn't too much as far as plot development, but it was a lot of character development, and it was something that I feel we've been driving towards for several chapters. So I was really chuffed about it. I thought the characters are pretty much where we know them to be, bar Thrawn, who's a few ranks higher, and obviously we don't know about Vanto. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing where we go next. But yeah, that is about it for this video. If you got any thoughts, just, on this, changing the background or just anything along these lines, let me know in the comments. As I've said, this series will come to an end at the end of this book, simply because there hasn't been a lot of interest. So if you do enjoy it, you got to leave me a comment sooner or later, just for the fact that I haven't got any other way to know. I've got me analytics on YouTube, but that's about it. So if you're watching it on TV, use your controls to just give me a thumbs up. If you're on your phone or whatever, it's even easier, just tap the thumb up. Can't say more than that. Okay, so thanks for watching, folks. See you in another video. Bye for now.